Hey everybody, Richard Robbins here. Well, the numbers are in for the Vancouver Real Estate Board. Let's have a look at what's going on. Here's what I'm going to share with you. First of all, I'm going to share what's happened through 2019. We'll look at sales, listings, months of inventory. Then I want to get into what happened September over September of last year in terms of sales and benchmark price. Got some good news there in terms of sales. Then what I've done is I've broken it down and I'm going to show you what's happened to the price, the benchmark price of detached condos and townhouses are attached. And then I'm going to compare that to what happened in Fraser Valley and you can see the difference. So have a look here. This is the whole year, okay? We got January right through to the end of September. If you follow me, you've seen this before. January, we started with 1,100 sales. What happened? Went up to almost 1,500. Then March, we went to 17, okay? April, you can see good things are happening, 1829. May, look, it went to 2638, June 2000. This is your spring, of course. Then July was a decent July, okay, compared to the other months, 2,557, then 2,231 in August, and we were at 2,333. Now, the good news is in Vancouver, your sales were up in September over August. In almost every other market in Canada, that was not the case. September was actually a little bit lower than it was. So based on your market, this is very good news. Now, if we take the amount of sales and we divide that into the active listings at the end of the month, that gives us months of inventory. 4 to 6 months of inventory, balanced. Above 6 months, buyers. Below 4 months, sellers. Look where you started, 9.8. But then what started to happen? 7.8, still buyers. 7.4, still buyers. 7.8, okay, still buyers. And then 5.6. We moved into balanced market here. Then 7.2 buyers, 5.6, 6.0, 5.8. You're now sitting in a balanced market. And most of the year, you were sitting in a buyer's market where prices were weakening. So overall, if we look at this, this is all pretty good news. And look at this. We compare September of 2018 to September of 2019. Your sales are up by a whopping 46.3%. Good news. What about benchmark price? Well, it was down. You're down 7.5%, okay, year over year. Well, of course you are. The reason you're down is because we spent most of the time in a buyer's market where prices are going to be weakening, but now we're moving into more of a balanced market, and you'll probably see your prices are going to start to stabilize. What about months of inventory for the last 3 years? Months of inventory, supply and demand determines price, but it's got nothing to do with sales. In other words, it doesn't mean because you have low months of inventory, your sales are back to where they were 3 or 4 years ago. It's got nothing to do with that. It just tells us what's happening with the price. Well, if we look here 2017, market was good, right? Just over 4. Came down into the 2 range. Crazy good, right? For 2017, ended 3.5. Basically a seller's market throughout the year. Then what happened? 2018 is the yellow one. We started just below 4, and then we're going along, and of course, what happens? We went all the way up to 8.2 months of inventory right here in September, stayed well into a buyer's market, prices started to weaken, we ended the year at 9.6. This is where you were getting price, okay, decreases right here, and we started, as I showed you, at almost 10. Price is weak, right? We go along, we're still very much right here. We're still sitting in a buyer's market. You know, we creep down to balance, back up to buyers, and now we're back into a balanced market. But look at this. Look where we were right here. So now we're below where we were last year. I suspect we're going to stay below that for the rest of the year. Nobody knows for sure, but I really think we will. So looking at this, there's 2 things happening in your market that I think are very, very good. Number 1, your sales are up substantially from where they were last year. Yes, I know they're not where they were 3 years ago, but they're up substantially from last year. Good news. Second, your months of inventory is balanced, which means your prices now will probably start to stabilize. And if the trend continues, sales keep going up, maybe we're going to start to move into a seller's market at some point. Interesting chart here. I'm going to compare Greater Vancouver to Fraser Valley. What this is, detached. So if we look just at detached, you can see 1.54 September last year, benchmark, we're at 1.41. That's down by 8.7%. Down substantially, right? That's a big number. What about townhouses? Same thing, 838, 768, down by 8.4%. Again, pretty substantial number, but the lowest decrease was in condos. 687 to 652, down by 5.2%. So your condo market is still sort of the strongest market you have, which makes sense because that's what a lot of first-time buyers can afford. And in most markets across Canada, in excess of 40% of the sales are first-time buyers. But what about Fraser Valley? So remember what I said, 8.7 detached down, 8.4, 5.2. Let's go at Fraser Valley. Their detached increased. Okay, $1 million, you can see just over $1 million up by 3%. But again, townhouses down by 4.6, apartments down by 2. So the further you go from Vancouver, the stronger the market is. It's not crazy good, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit better, right? Vancouver has taken the biggest hit. However, when the market was going up, who was going up more? Vancouver, Fraser Valley. Vancouver. So it's exactly the same thing. What happens? The market goes up more, chances are it's probably going to come down more. If it goes up a little less, right, chances are what's going to happen, it's not going to come down as much in the correction. Just like when you look at Alberta, what we're seeing is very balanced there. It's not really going up, not really going down. So anyway, overall, here's what's happening. Sales are starting to increase year over year. Good news, right? Months of inventory starting to decrease year over year. Good news. If this continues, you're probably going to start to move into a seller's market at some point. Will it happen this year? Not convinced, but maybe next year it could start to happen. Anyway, at the end of the day, I hope this was helpful. And remember, it's a beautiful life. Make it count.